Hello, everybody. My name is Kamal.
My name is Andrea.
My name is Dong Yun Chu.
Yeah, so today we're gonna talk about race and ethnicity. We have a few questions we want to talk about. Before we start, I just want to say this topic might be sensitive for some of y'all, and it might hit the spot. So just know it's just for educational purpose. Everything we say in this podcast. Yeah, so let's get started. So I'll go first, and let's pull it up real quick. Okay, got my questions right here. So in the article I read, it says really were those opportunities given to educator of colors. It was by Audrey Murphy Brown. And I have a follow-up question about that, which is what steps can education institutes take to address the racial bias in hiring practices, and can it just promote this equal opportunities for educators like teaching and stuff of color, and what you guys think about that?
Well, I think for equal opportunities for jobs and education, I think would be having a more diverse board of people hiring from different backgrounds, so it's a little less biased. And then I'm also thinking that they could do regular evaluations and monitoring to make sure that there's not someone consistently only hiring these groups of people. What do you think?
Yeah, I think educational institution can address racial basis by implementing planned hiring process, or offering diversity training and setting concrete diversity and inclusion goals. I think it's good.
Just Andrea said before, we can do review the job description and qualification of racial. I guess not just racial, but of every race. I believe. I guess we can just say that every race and every background. I just believe they all should be equally educated, not just not just their color should their skin color should come into play, but their educational background should also come into play, because it is really important for the students to get a good education, and not just a certain color, like a white person who's teaching, because in America, not in America, but we as human beings, we just think white people are the supreme color, right? Yeah. Again, not to be racist, it's educational purpose only. It's educational purpose only, okay?
Yeah. So I feel because of that, I feel outreach is important, and recruitment efforts are good.
Yeah. And I also believe education institution, college or anything, anything within the education, it should be very diverse, because some people just get scared, I believe, when they don't see their own color people, color people, to be honest, and they might be afraid to speak up, because when we see somebody, our own people, we feel more comfortable with, talking with them, opening up to them, they can also understand our experience, because they might also have went through the same thing as well.
Or something similar.
Something similar. I agree with that too. So okay.
Next question.
The next question. The next question I have is how can we better support our students when they speak against injustice, systematic injustice in school, for racial and anything like that, and also the communities. What you guys think? How can we can support our students, our youth, people. We're youth, but them to
I'm thinking having more organizations on campus about that, and also just going to if something does happen, just go to if it's a workplace, go to HR. If it's at school, go to something. I'm sure there's something on campus where you can reach out, or the diversity office of diversity and inclusion or something like that.
How about you, you know?
Yeah, I think weekends, both student activities can be achieved by providing platforms for their voice and social education into the curriculum and facilitating partnerships with local organizations. And also, I think the school can offer resource and guidance for peaceful activism and ensure a safe environment for open dialogue. I think it's
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah. For me, how can we better and support? Okay. So I personally feel like, you know, like teachers, like they should be more involved in it. I mean, I'm talking from my experience. This one was back in middle school, back in like 2014, I believe, 2016. I forgot. I forgot. Anyways, the incident was Michael Brown. Like I think as many of y'all know, Michael Brown. Like he was the African American, a young African American young male. He got like shot down by the cops, and like, you know, and all that happened. Like that was a whole riot. Like I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, so it's like I know what happened and stuff. And I was in middle school during that time, and like the teachers, like I guess they helped us like support and do like a protest in school, because my school is just right by the police station, so they helped us, you know, just amplify our voices and, you know, like let it be known that like just because a person was like a different color, you know, like it is very wrong to like shoot them down. And yeah, and the story was like, you know, like a white officer killed that black African American kid student. He was a student, and also that was a recent incident that happened. Like, you know, I forgot his name.
Personally, for me, when we talked about police brutality or stuff like that, it was only really brought up to my attention during COVID, during the BLM movement about George Floyd.
Yeah, oh yeah, George Floyd. Yeah, damn him.
Yeah, about George Floyd. That was like when it was really brought up to my attention, and that's when I really learned more about the discrimination. Like we know, but it wasn't really talked about as much in my community until then. I grew up in a majority like white community, so I feel like we didn't get as many diverse perspectives.
Oh wow, I had the complete opposite I guess experience. You know, I live in Merced that was like African American, like people of all races. Like I'm not gonna lie, like after I moved to Ohio, I saw like white people, you know. You know, I'm not trying to be like racist or nothing, but like I lived my whole life with like this was minorities, you know, like the state, and like I was just so surprised when I went to like high school. It was like all the kids they were just, you know, just like Caucasian, they were just white, you know.
Yeah.
And like just I guess their lifestyle is just different, the way they talk, you know, just the way they carry themselves. It was so different from like you know what I grew up in, and I think that was like, you know, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And here like I really don't see that type of support, you know, like when it comes to like student like you know, amplifying their voices, like speaking up about like racial stuff like that. I haven't personally seen like any type of support from like teachers or anything.
Oh.
Yeah. From like teachers and, you know, from teachers or just even within the community, like I've not really seen that, because like nowadays like people just want to like keep to themselves.
Yeah.
This one is very like individual, you know, and I don't think like that would help like any of us, to be honest. It won't. Hey, can you like swipe it up? Like swipe it up. No.
I'll cut out this part.
Okay. Cool.
We gotta cut this part out. Okay.
No, it's fine. You know, we can talk about it, yeah. And so like, have you guys like, you know, seen like anybody, you know, raise their and like student activists, just like, you know, just like a regular person?
I know at least when I walked around on campus for the involvement, I did see a lot of groups for like African Americans, specifically in specific fields, because they are minorities in like medical fields. And then I'm personally in CASA, so it's like the Chinese American Chinese American Student Association, and so we do talk about that. And I know there's half Black, half Asian. They talk a lot about their experiences.
Oh wow, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a whole different experience with that too. Like it's just crazy how many have so much different experience. Like here, like, you know, they also have this, it's called NSA. Like I'm not trying to speak bad about them, but like they're like my own people. They're like no, they're my own people. Like we speak the same language, you know, like our culture and everything's the same. But when I went there, like I felt like an outsider when I went there. You know, it's like I'm like wow, bro. Like how can you do to your own people?
I will say like for like CASA or like some Asian organizations, it feels a little cliquey, and like I guess like there's like some people inadvertently shame other people for not knowing the language, or more about the culture. It depends on the person though.
Yeah, and you know, I also feel like students like you know, each other like I think we each other are like what the. I feel like you know, like us we're like the most important like resources for anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like just helping each other out. That's what I meant.
Having a support system.
Yeah, why did I stutter? I was trying to think of a word. My God. Why you just having like a support system within each other?
Yeah.
Because you know, yeah.
We gotta support each
I
other.
I mean I look, you know, like, towards you out, you want any help with anything. Well, stuff like that. Yeah.
What's the third question?
Oh, okay. We're moving on to our third question.
Okay.
Okay. This is kind of like controversial, so like you know, don't be so like offended about it. Like, do you still believe virginity is still a social construct? You know, and I feel like this is very interesting to me. Because it's comes from a different culture and stuff like that, from a whole different country to be honest, or different world.
Yeah.
Like moving here and stuff. I think it's very different for like all of us, I believe, right? Yes.
I guess you could say that virginity. Wait, what in your article talked about that?
Oh no, it's just about like you know social construct like.
Okay.
Just what you
I think
yeah.
virginity is a social construct based on like your culture and religious beliefs. There is also a big gender bias, how women are shamed for losing their virginity or having more sexual partners, and men are more like celebration, like oh.
They think we're like players and stuff. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean like what's up, player? You know?
Yeah. And I guess there's also the historical context of virginity too. So it is a lot of social construct. What do you think?
That is a very, very, very interesting question. You know, like this question had me like baffled for a good minute. Like I was just thinking about this because I don't want to make it like feel like I'm attacking anybody or like any type of race or like any type of culture or like you know any type of country. I believe I would say, but like in America, like I don't think it is a social construct like no more because of this hookup culture.
Yeah, but in China it's really one.
Yeah, it depends on the country.
Yeah, which country?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's saying that in China it is a big thing.
Yes,
virginity is a big thing there. So yeah, it depends on the country that you're at. In America, as you said,
in America, like you know, like there's hookup culture. I mean, I'm not saying that nothing's wrong with it. Like y'all can do what you want. You know, like our Bill of Rights, like it protects us from doing what we want. And yeah, so I don't think virginity like social construct in like some areas. I feel like especially like in like more populated areas. Like people like really don't believe in this stuff, you know. Like if you get a breakup, you go hook up with somebody. like that's what like a lot of people do, and yeah, and like you know as Mr. Dion was saying, like in China and like in Asian countries, like virginity is like very big thing, because like we don't. I mean, but like they don't play about that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's like purity. Stuff like that. So I think in my opinion, it is kind of like a social construct.
Yeah, like back over there, you know what I'm saying? But still like here. I mean, too.
It's still here.
Yeah, it's still here, but not like
as bad.
Yeah. And like you know, gender also plays a big role in it too, because like you know, if a male like loses virginity, like nobody really cares, to be honest. But like if a female does, it's like. For marriage, then you know it's like oh my god, like you know tantrum type stuff.
I think in Asian countries, virginity is important.
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah.
South Korea, Japan, China.
Yeah.
Even in Dubai too. Yeah. Not as Asian, but like in Dubai and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like it's very big because Like I guess everybody wants just like pure stuff.
Yeah.
And hey, so this is the question I had, based upon my reading and stuff like that. And,
I can go next.
I can miss it.
Yeah. Mine is was from the source explained racial wealth gap, which is a Netflix episode, and in it talked about how which I found very interesting in the very beginning, like the U.S. dollar bill actually had pictures of slaves picking cotton instead of like presidents on there. I did not know that until now. I don't know if that's a common thing. Did you know?
For real?
Yeah, it was like that. And it was slaves were worth over $3 billion in 1863. That's how much wealth they created for everyone. And the median white household wealth for like currently, or at least when the video was released in 2020, for white households was 171,000, and the black household was on average 17,600. So you can see a lot of wealth disparity on that.
Yeah, extremely just within
yeah. And then so now I'm gonna go back in historically. In 1865, Fraser and 19 other black leaders came up with a bill saying that each family cannot own more than 40 acres of tillable land. And President Lincoln signed the bill, but he was later assassinated a couple weeks after that.
It's extremely sad.
I know.
No, it's just...
He signed that, and then so his successor, Andrew Johnson, immediately backtracked out of the bill, and so later within the year, thousands of slaves who did receive land from that bill were evicted. So they were going from nowhere and having nothing to something and back to nothing, which I think personally is worse because you're starting off with like no morale, like, oh no, we're back to this point, hopelessness.
Yeah.
And so a quote from the video I got was, "Wealth is where past injustices breed present injustices." How do you think that quote plays into like the economic disparity between white and black households today?
Wow, that was a lot. It's very interesting facts. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
About having slaves and I'm not, let me not slaves, but African American who were wrongfully enslaved, have their photos and stuff in the bill. That was very interesting to me.
Yeah.
But what is word? Past injustice breed.
Yeah. How would you?
Wow, that's got me baffled, I'm trying to think,
Okay.
I'm trying to think. What you think, man? What you think?
Yeah, for me, I come from China. I don't know various question, but for me, I think it's about include salary segregation and so I think to answer this question and to solve this problem, we need to. I don't know how to answer this question.
Oh no! I guess I can answer the question. I'll try.
Yeah, because I don't know about it.
So I see how this reflects in today's society, with how a lot of black the African American black community, they have less resources than their counterparts. They're also a lot in, not trying to generalize, but many of them also are in areas with worse schooling, so less resources that they can use. So that's how I see it, and that's stemming from the fact that they start in a place where they had no resources, they were enslaved, so they had less opportunities to grow.
Yeah, as you were saying, even today, a lot of African Americans, people of this minority people, they live in just a lower part of the area, for example, Columbus and stuff. My auntie, she lived there, you know what I'm saying? And when I go down to visit her down there, it's I see a lot of minorities people there, and it just, I don't know, it's, yeah.
And so like from the source, it said that 2/3 of middle class wealth is in form of home ownership, and actually before the 1980s, African Americans weren't really allowed to get loans in certain areas because they were worried about having, because companies and just people in the neighborhood had worries that like the housing price and the market would go down if African Americans moved into the area.
Yeah.
So I guess the banks wouldn't really allow African Americans to get loans for certain or mortgages for certain houses, and that's how they prevented them from living in certain communities, which is where I see some of the disparity there.
Yeah, I want to add on to that, like you know, I'm from like Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, right? So like they had this thing called like they were like called projects, like where like there's a big, very big buildings, like I believe like 5 or 6 of them, and there was a very cheap like housing prices, right? But then it was like the building was, it was made with very bad materials. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is very like, and there was only like African Americans only there, like them so the government, like, you know, they intentionally put all the African Americans or people of color.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, people of color. Yeah, to the, I believe it was the east side of it, and like, you know, and I found like, you know, like, so that just remind me of what you said. Just remind me of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And my school was like built on top of that, by the way. Like after they demolished it, like my school was on top of that.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So it just remind me about the project back in Missouri.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I don't.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
okay.
So next question.
So in the 90s, politicians tried to get loans for African Americans, but African Americans were 2 times more likely to get supreme loans, which is where it starts off cheap, but then gets really, really expensive exponentially with people with lower credit, and only 1 in 5 African Americans have good credit. So the Black community lost about 53% of their wealth, and that happened because Wells Fargo was trying, I think in the 1990s, was trying to target Black churches by saying that they give them donations for each person they got to get a mortgage, and so the churches held seminars on how to buy homes, the importance of buying homes. So then they increased the amount of people that got mortgages, and by doing that, the Wells Fargo got money from that, and then so they then lost a lot of the African American lost a lot of wealth. So what do you think? Do you think there could have been something preventing this from happening?
I really don't think so, because back in the days, like, you know, like, there was just racist, to be honest. You know, like they didn't want to see like if the whites didn't want to see like other minority people like be above them or be equal to them.
Yeah.
So like I believe like nothing they could have done, like, because African Americans, like back in the day, like they didn't have no power, to be honest, right? And even if they could do something, the cops and like all the government, the legal government, like that was very racist. Not all of them, but like majority of them, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, there might be like, you know, few good apples, but like, you know, the whole tree was bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like I really don't think like they could have really done anything. You know?
Yeah.
Unless like
it was really sneaky because I wouldn't think like a bank would target a church.
Yeah,
like,
that's really sad.
That's like crazy to me. And like they probably weren't thinking anything of it either.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, you know, have you heard about the Boston bombing? Not Boston, Birmingham bombing. Like it was like during this time too, right?
Yeah.
So like a white male, right? He went to a church like during Sunday, and like he blew up the church.
Oh.
I think like 3 females, little kids, like they died during that time. So it's like I think this is not that surprising to me. Like, you know, if somebody can during that time go and like bomb a church like during a Sunday, or I believe it was during Sunday, and you know when they're like worshiping like the God.
I guess like just to me, I'm thinking like 1990 is so recent, and it's so crazy how blatant they were with targeting African Americans.
It's really sad when you think about it. It's really sad.
So then, another thing that the source talked about was that white graduates over a couple of decades had an increase in wealth, while African American graduates had a decrease in wealth. So it talked about how it wasn't due to them having different wages and salaries after graduation, but due to how they had to spend their money. African American graduates were most likely the more successful in their family and network and community. So family would ask them to help financially, and so they couldn't really spend their money or save their money as much as white people do.
Yeah.
So then my question would be like, how do you think the government could help compensate the African American community, even though they've had over 300 years of injustice?
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think the government should concern the regulations that directly address the wealth gap, such as direct payments, land locations, or substantial investments in education and community development for African Americans. Police, I think, police interventions maybe also include tax breaks or wealth building opportunities, specifically designed to boost the economic status of their families.
Your families, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
Yeah.
to that?
So yeah. So you said the question like actually like government like should try and like compensate or like anything like that.
Yeah.
I personally don't think they can like do that for all the injustice like they have done for 20 years. I feel like there's no like perfect answer for this, but like for me just hypothetically speaking, like, there should be like a restart button for everything.
Yeah.
Like in high school, I think we should like start very small, like in like elementary school, like middle school.
Yeah.
I feel like we should give a good foundation to like the students.
Yeah.
Like African Americans, or like not African Americans, like any minority students, just as we give priority to white students or like private school, I mean that's a lot to ask for, but the thing is like I feel like if we start from like middle school and like elementary school and high school, like they'll be very well off, since their whole family will be like able to get a job,
Good education.
Yeah, good education. So I feel like we should just try to make a very like equal opportunities for all of them.
Yeah.
So that's
But I guess like you could see that happening with, I guess this could be controversial too, affirmative action with colleges, which they just got rid of.
What they got rid of?
Affirmative action where like they allow a certain percentage of a minority group to get into college, they reserve a certain spot.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, that they just got rid of, I think this year, last year. I guess they tried to do that, but I guess I don't really want to go into it.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like that's also good, because I feel like a lot of like students, who might not be the minority or like, they have like their grades and like their commitments, like it shows that well deserving of it.
Yeah.
So I think like what they did was good.
Yeah. But they
in some ways, yeah, and in other ways like bad. So,
yeah, but
what you think? You have anything like add on to that stuff? I mean, if we don't, then we just move on to the yeah. I think we should move on to it.
yeah, you can.
Yeah, so Mr. Lee Young is gonna give us some questions.
Okay. So my question is about the 6 reasons we need to dismantle the model.
Sorry, could you speak up? I can't really hear. Sorry.
Okay, mass out those hardworking agents. So my first question is the article mentions the model minority mass creates a wedge between Asian Americans and other racial minorities. Reflect on this statement and discuss how this mass affects interracial and the fight against the systemic racism. How does it impact the participation of racial structures among different communities?
You wanna start?
That was.
It's very difficult.
Oh, okay. Wow, that was that was.
I guess we can speak about it because we are Asian.
Yeah, I mean, we're Asian. Yeah, all of us are Asian.
I'll answer the second part of the question about how the model minority myth impacts the perception of racial struggles among different communities. At least for the Asian American community that I can talk about, because we are viewed as the Asian or the model minority, I feel like many people assume that, oh, we just have it, we're just naturally smart, we naturally have all these resources, we aren't struggling, but a lot of it comes from hard work. And personally for me, my mom had to work very, very hard to get us to the point where we are right now. So
yeah. So I just want to add on to that too as well, because back in Nepal, back in my country, Nepal, my dad, he was a college professor, right? And then after we moved here, he worked his butt off, and he became a janitor. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So as a college professor, it was a very prestigious position back in Nepal. He became a janitor to take care of us and stuff like that. Now he's a very hardworking, man. So it's it didn't come easy for him, and he has a very heavy accent. Even I can't understand him sometimes. But then so I feel yeah.
And so I think for how the myth affects interracial solidarity and how it fights and how the fight against systemic racism, how this statement reflects on that.
Hey, bro, you got some good questions, man. You got me thinking. Wow, you got me thinking, man. Right here. This is our first time doing a podcast, so don't mind us laughing. It's kind of weird.
I guess how this myth affects interracial solidarity, at least for Asian Americans, I feel like we tend to not talk about it. We don't talk about our struggles as much. We're not as vocal, so there's not as much solidarity just because there's not much awareness, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if there is awareness, it's not spoken about as much.
Yeah, us Asian, we're naturally very shy. Even our class, majority of our class is Asians, real talk. and then we're very shy, we're not very vocal.
Yeah, our culture is also naturally just don't speak up, work through it yourself.
So that might seem as a microaggression, but the thing is, I'm not trying to make it seem that way.
We are Asian.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to make it seem that way. So then I was just speaking facts about it, and how our experiences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So so that's what I gotta say.
What is the second question?
Sorry.
So about the second question, because my English pronunciation is not good, so wait a moment. Another point raised is about the mass reinforcing harmful stereotypes about immigrations, particularly the notion of the deserving vs undeserving immigrant. How do these narratives shape public opinion and policies regarding immigration and social support systems? Can you think of any example that illustrate the consequence of such stereotypes?
Okay.
Yeah, this question is.
So I'm just gonna rephrase it. So, the myth about how the myth about the stereotypes about immigrants of deserving versus undeserving immigrant. I think how that shapes public opinion and policy regarding immigration and social support is that, I guess, this might be controversial too. Um, I would say, I guess people would say deserving immigrants would be people who came legally, and pay taxes, work hard. But I think it could also, I know that people may say like undeserving immigrants would be people who heavily rely on like government aid, like food stamps, stuff like that, which I don't know about that, just because a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the times immigrants do come here with nothing or very little, so it's hard to build up from that.
Yeah.
So I don't know about the relying on aid part. I think I don't really know if there's a really dividing line between undeserving and deserving, just because everyone's experiences are different.
Yeah.
And I don't particularly think anyone's undeserving of coming to a country. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah. As you said earlier, about like the aid part, like I'm a refugee, right?
Yeah.
I came here when I was like 4 years old.
I'm an immigrant, so.
I'm a refuge. So like us, like my family, like we had to like really rely on just the government for like anything, because like this is very hard for us, because I believe we're the first, like how you say it, like in my country, like we're the first Nepali to come to America, like like us.
Yeah.
So like, and there was like nobody there to help us, and like also having a language barrier.
Yeah.
It was extremely difficult to like get around and stuff like that. So we had to really rely on the government to help us out from transportation to anything. So yeah, so I guess I can I guess I'm part of the deserving, I guess. Because I mean, I have a whole story about how we became immigrants and stuff. Refugees. But then that's for another time.
Wait, so like I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So for like how was the government able to help you guys?
Oh.
Specifically.
Okay. So for they gave us food stamp, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because like we didn't work during that time.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, he was looking for a job. They gave us a place to stay.
Okay.
So we weren't like homeless, Like
Yeah.
they came to pick us up at the airport. That
Yeah.
was pretty cool. And that's my first time ever like riding in a car, like in a
Yeah.
van. Like we had a van, right? That was my first time ever
Yeah.
riding a van. So then just a list of for example, like going to the hospitals, with the language barrier and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That was very hard.
Did they not have translators?
They had, but they wasn't refugees. They were immigrants. So like
Okay, yeah.
them like Nepali immigrants, they look down on refugees. Nepali immigrants.
Okay.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because they feel like because they had to like spend their own money and stuff like that to come here and like and make a life for themselves. But as a refugee, like we rely on the government.
I feel like that plays into like what they think is undeserving and deserving.
Yeah. So that just plays a very big role.
Yeah.
So I'm like.
I don't think anyone's particularly undeserving. I don't think that's really it.
Yeah.
So
What was the
about
second part? Can you think of
6 more minutes. We got this 6 more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So what?
Continue, sorry.
6 more minutes.
yeah, so the third question is about the article calls for dismantle the model minority mass to achieve racial justice. Reflecting on this, what steps can individuals and communities take to address and dismantle these stereotypes? How can we contribute to a more inclusive understanding of racial and identities? Yes.
I personally be like, as us community or like anybody community member, like we should like be more aware of our surrounding and like just open up to people of like different cultures and stuff like that. Like just different kind. Like if you see somebody that doesn't look like you, like just don't think like they're weird or like they're dirty,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people do that, and I've been a victim of it too. It's kind of sad, but that was when I was a little kid, so I don't care anymore. But then, that time, like, I didn't know how to defend myself.
Yeah.
I was a little kid, I was like 5-year-old, man. Like, what am I supposed to do? It's not my fault he thinks I'm dirty, shit.
Yeah.
I was very clean, by the way.
Yeah.
But, And so it's like just be more, just spread more awareness of different type of people. Like especially in America, like it's like a mixing pot. That's what they said about America, because everybody from different cultures, different backgrounds, they come here and yeah. So I think just being more aware, like about your cultures. And got the same culture, but but about my culture and like about like African American, Mexican, Indians, and so I just personally just being more awareness of that would play a very big role in like just calming us down and not be so racist. It'll help us in the community.
I think being open-minded and just being curious, willing to learn, helps contribute to being more inclusive and understanding different racial and ethnic identities. Of course, always ask questions, be curious again, just to learn more about different things and have a more diverse set of knowledge. And it's you can never know enough about a certain identity. So
yeah, and like even like when you ask questions about the person, like don't be so bold or like aggressive. Like just try, I guess just thinking ahead before you like tell a person. Because like some people might find it like very offensive. Like if I say like where you from.
Oh yeah, the
like,
way you word it.
Yeah, the way you word it, like like on the video like we watched like yesterday.
Yeah, where are you from?
Yeah, like his face like where you from? Like shit about yeah. So
like where are you actually from?
Yeah. So I found that and yeah like I said and also if we just know about like our surrounding a bit more, our attitudes will also change with that.
Oh yeah, attitude is a big thing.
Yeah. Cause me I mean I ain't bringing nothing but yeah. So like like our attitudes like towards a different race or like a different type of people, it will also change a lot. Yes. And I guess we'll just be a bit more welcoming.
Yeah.
Towards them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think.
Do you have anything to add?
No.
No.
Okay. So I did have a few questions by the way. So, what you guys think about race? Like, just like what you think about it?
I think it's cool.
No, I mean,
having a diverse. I mean, having.
Let me rephrase it.
Okay.
Do you think the word race is like needed for us?
Well, I think it is like a social construct of how people differentiate between just based off of appearances. I don't. Based on one of the readings that we did previously, or podcasts that we had to listen to, specifically for Asian Americans, they didn't come up with Asian American as a term until they had until like these people in California in like the 1900s, 1980s, had to come up with a term to help spread activism for Asians. So that wasn't originally a term. So I feel like it is kind of needed to help with spreading awareness. Because what are you gonna say? People need it.
I would disagree with it.
What would you say?
I feel like just the word race, like it's like Asian. Like I feel like that's like how we made it. Because at the end of the day, it's like if this wasn't about it, I think a lot of like racial stuff would, like just be out the window.
Yeah.
Because this stuff like we made it up.
Yeah,
like,
but I feel like
humans,
racism is. Even if we didn't have a term, I think people would still be racist. They'd be like, "Oh, your eyes, they're squinty. Oh, your skin color." I think it would, even without the term race. I think.
I don't know, but for me, it just like seems like so wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we basically like label ourselves with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm this race.
Yeah.
I'm a human race. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not like Asian. I am Asian, but like I'm not Asian. I'm the human race. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's what I really think about it. And do you think like like where you guys like grew up has like played a big impact on your life, like how you are now?
Coming from Colombia, I was like the only Asian kid in the area.
What?
There's no Asians. So I guess I didn't really know I was Asian, because no one talked about race, because everyone was like Hispanic. I was the only Asian person. I didn't really know about it until I came to the U.S. actually. So yeah, people did point out about like Asian stereotypes of
Yeah,
eating dogs and cats.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
And they did do that, but I wasn't like, oh, like, are you Chinese, Korean? They've never asked that.
Yeah, I don't think they ask that because like they have say I cats and dogs too. I'm like I have a pet
Yes.
dog, bro. Like
Yeah.
like we don't do that stuff. And I don't know. It's just really sad, the stereotype like that we have. And the other stereotype they have like Indians and like they smell like curry.
Yeah.
I think that's very wrong of them.
Yeah.
Because like I got friends who are Indians and they don't. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
their food is very tasty.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I feel like that's wrong about it. And yeah, so do you think like how you raise impact like how you're right now?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, because I grew up in China and we are all Asian.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Oh, anyways,
Yeah.
guys, this is our
Thank
section.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hold on. Anyway, it's for everything was said in this podcast was for like educational purpose. So I hope nobody took it offensive of what we said. And if you did, like it was our intention of intention of hurting y'all, I guess. And so I hope you guys like the podcast. This is our first podcast, so it might be a little weird. So
Yes.
Well,
Thank you very much.